Welcome back, everyone, to the North American LCS. My name is David Freak Turley, and joining me is the man always willing to drive the getaway car, Joshua Jat Leisman.
Yeah, is it true that people driving the getaway cars are generally safer than the ones doing the robberies and stuff? Lower fatality rates?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
All right, I'll do that.
All right, I'm Robin the Banks. We're jumping into our second match of the day, and it's FlyQuest taking on Counter Logic Gaming. Now, despite picking up their first win last week, FlyQuest did not end the day in high spirits.
Yeah, and it feels like for this team, wins haven't really come as easily as they did in the spring split. High's macro and shot calling was getting them a lot of wins with their aggressive plays in spring, but we haven't seen the team able to do the same types of things in summer. But one player who is performing better than they did last split for FlyQuest is Balls, who I feel has been providing a lot of pressure, whereas last split he was often seen as the weak point.
I definitely agree. Brawls has been on the way up this split. But speaking of top laners who have been shouldering a lot of criticism, he's going up against Darshan, who is in a similar boat and also doing a bit better.
Yeah, and while the stats won't always paint a player like Darshan in a favorable light, since he's going down 100 CS in tank versus carry matchups, it's because you see him sacrificing farm to play with his team. And I'm not just saying that. It actually works for them in game, which is pretty rare. And CLG are still figuring out how their team works with the new jungler in Dardoch. But Darshan is doing whatever it takes to make their team compositions work.
Okay, and that has been looking good so far. CLG, of course, are a first-place team coming into the day. Now, FlyQuest can sometimes throw teams for a loop with their decisive shot calling, but Stixay doesn't think it's going to be a problem for CLG.
Well, I think FlyQuest is a team that is like kind of known for the more like aggressive, like 50-50 like shot calling. They just kind of go for stuff that other teams wouldn't, because they just go for super aggressive stuff that, in my opinion, is like just objectively bad. And like good teams will be able to punish it repeatedly, but I can see them taking like a few games off bottom teams maybe, but no, they're not going to take them off us.
Because they're not going to take any games off of us. If they do, it makes CLG a bottom team by his own words. That's what he said. Let's check out the starting lineups. On the blue side, starting out in game one is FlyQuest. Balls in the top lane, Moon in the jungle, High and mid, Wild Turtle, the new bot laner for the split, Elimination at support with Coach ThinkCard, the rest of them all returning from last split.
Yeah, absolutely. This team coming in at 1-3, trying to pick up more wins up against the 3-1 Counter Logic Gaming, who is on the red side. We got Darshan in the top lane, Dardoch in the jungle, Huhi having a big split so far in mid, with Stixay and Aftermoon in the bottom lane, with Coach Zix as usual. As
usual, CLG definitely one to keep most of the roster together by and large. We've said the same names with Darshan and Stixay and Afro and Zix and all these guys for like years now at this point. Darshan, not Darshan. Dardoch, it's gonna screw with me. Getting the names when they're almost the same. But
yeah, exactly. But
the only new addition to the split.
The big thing with Dardoch is the fact that the team did have exactly the same roster for pretty much the most games in a row that we've had in NALCS history. I think they tied the record and then made the roster change pretty much. But it's working out relatively well so far. I'd say extremely inconsistently. In week one, Dardoch was feeding and doing a lot of bad things. People were like, man, and COG still won, even though Dardoch played awful. That's a good thing. It's like, well, sure, but Dardoch was playing bad. You need him to be performing at a high level. Like that needs to happen. So COG still looking up, very confident coming into this split.
All right, so here we go. The last week of 7.11. We'll see NALCS Week 4 on 7/12, and that'll have Zach nerfs and everything else. But for now, Aurelion Sol, LeBlanc banned away from FlyQuest, targeting Huhi, and Zach the perennial red side ban, at least until 7/12 comes around, and we'll see what happens afterwards. Gallia also removing a tank from the possibility of high end balls here, and a Caitlyn away from Stixay. Safe, good laner, and good late game carry potential. Has been, I think, the most prolific bot lane marksman so far in the summer split, and Kennen runs it out.
Especially in NA, I feel like we found the most success with the Caitlyn. Elise as a power pick in the jungle, though, since Zach is the only jungler banned. I see a lot of teams going for it, but that isn't really pinching Dardoch's champion pool in any way, shape, or form with the limited number of jungle bans we've seen so far.
Absolutely the case. We're going to see what it's going to come around to, and it might just be the Gragas. It's been a very frequent CLG flex pick. Darshan's been happy to play it, but we've also seen Dardoch with the champion in there, and it means that CLG, if I'm guessing, can wait for the rest of those, for that top jungle role, and can just sit there for a while and see if they can bait out bans doing it and just flex Gragas where it needs to be. See what else they grab for themselves. No supports have been banned away at all. The tier list says Thresh is a big one, but instead they say Xayah is most important with 2 marksmen off the table. Let's take that one first.
Yeah, and they also still have Rakan available. I kind of like the fact that they didn't instantly lock the duo that we see a lot of teams do, only because the Gragas is mostly a power pick in the top lane, especially if you're wanting to be a tank player like Balls has often been. So I think they'll be able to get it on the turnaround if they still want it.
Yeah, with Xayah Zyra locked in. I'm going to screw this one up during this cast. Xayah versus Zyra. I think it's my first of the split so far. And we actually heard Doublelift say in the interview when he's faced up against Liquid saying that, yeah, they picked Ashe and an aggressive support, and it was very good at landing against Xayah Rakan in the bot lane. We got pushed in and we got ganked on, so we'll see if more aggression comes out of the FlyQuest bot lane. Zyra, certainly a good laner. Renekton going to be the quasi-blind pick top. They know it could face the Gragas. I think it's a decent matchup. Otherwise, though, it could be counterpick. And instead, Blitzcrank into Zyra. And if she can stuff hooks with plants, it's pretty easy for Zyra. But she's squishy and can be one-shot. So Blitz Xayah can certainly destroy elimination support.
Yeah, and this will already be Aphromu's 4th Blitzcrank game of the split. Definitely feels kind of like a new age for Aphromu when he's back onto these types of supports. The spring split was not friendly to him, playing almost exclusively the shielders that everyone else was doing, but that's a big hit-or-miss champion, and if you're feeling that you can take over game as Blitzcrank, especially when they have the Rakan available with Xayah already locked in, shows a ton of confidence in the Blitzcrank, even against Zyra, which you can block the hooks with plants.
Yeah, if you're fast, it's kind of hard because you have to press W and also get your spell out, and they all have delays, so it's not the freest, but it is doable, and it's certainly... we'll probably see at least one plant block a hook this game. The ban's coming through. Sivir, wow, that's a surprising pick, but Sivir is good in a Blitzcrank, of course. You can spell shield the hooks and tank for your teammate. Ashe can be good into Xayah, even with the ulti to dodge away. Fiora dropped off the table means they still think CLG might play another carry top lane into the Renekton, even though that hasn't, as you mentioned in the pregame, been Darshan's primary style. Yeah. That said, it could also be a Huhi ban, considering he played it to success earlier on against DSM. And Cinder rounds out the third or fourth Huhi ban, depending how you consider the Fiora.
Yeah, definitely a lot of bans thrown Huhi's way. CLG with a lot of freedom to get the counter pick, but also with Orianna not being banned, that is a very likely blind pick for FlyQuest, and even this Jace can go mid or top lane, so this will make it a little bit tricky for High to lock down his pick.
Yeah, Jace Renekton can be a really tricky top lane matchup. I got to cast it doing the Challenger series, watching Delta Fox versus Big God's Jackals, and level 3 gank was really easy to do against a Jace with a Renekton with an empowered stun. Either way, Varus going to be locked into the bot lane here for FlyQuest. Now they just need a mid laner. Again, a quasi-blind pick. They know Jace could be the matchup. They know it doesn't have to be, though. And right now, CLG a bit low on magic damage. With Rumble as an available option, though not great into Renekton, you think that's maybe less likely.
It's another one of those things, so you're not really sure where they're going to go. We're expecting Orianna almost regardless, I think, from High. This would now be his 5th Orianna game. He hasn't played any other champion more than once. So that's the way FlyQuest is going to want to go with this. And yeah, you mentioned CLG would want more magic damage. Neither a Jace or a Rumble would do great up against the Renekton in the top lane, but they can always just throw Gragas down there. They're confident, it looks like, in Darshan's Jace. It can still be a lane bully. It's a very swingy matchup, almost regardless. Just requires some good knowledge of where the jungler is early in the game.
Well, Darshan, who's most played this split so far, was Gragas with 5 picks. We'll give that over to Dardoch, making it his 3rd. And Jace will come through the first time of the split for Darshan here. So carry versus carry top lane matchup. And I don't know the matchup well enough to know who eventually outscales, but at least Renekton can certainly get the gank pressure off. I feel like that might be a stronger 2-on-2 for FlyQuest. We'll have to see how it comes out, as Talia will match up against the Orianna, who he thinks he's comfortable with the matchup. And we get to see how 2 low mobility bot laners will fare against a Blitzcrank Xayah, which is boatloads of CC, and if the hook lands, you are almost guaranteed to die. It'll be fun to watch what happens.
Yeah, and how aggressive will the junglers really want to be? We have a lot of champions that can initiate, but not that many champions that can actually escape initiation, which generally leads to incredibly explosive games. For the past year, basically, all the way through spring and even into summer, CLG has the highest kills plus deaths of all teams in the North American LCS. That trend is true in the summer as well, and both these team compositions can speak to that style.
All right, explosive games gonna be here. It's gonna be fun to watch for as FlyQuest takes on Counter Logic Gaming 1-3 versus 3-1 as far as match records are concerned. FlyQuest, the 4th place finisher, actually beat CLG in the quarterfinals last split. Counter Logic Gaming, as they continue to rise up the standings, we're going to hope for revenge and continued excellence during the summer split. It almost wouldn't be Worlds without CLG going at the very end of it all. We'll see if they can hold on to a 1st place spot as we get ourselves into Game 1 as FlyQuest and Counter Logic Gaming take to the Rift.
Yeah, and that was a really crushing loss, I feel like, for the CLG team in the quarterfinals of the 2017 Spring Split. Because they were that type of team that was veteran and experienced with good shot calling, and you think they'd be able to turn it on almost whenever they wanted, and they tried to turn it on in playoffs and they got reverse swept. So this split, you can really see CLG has come in with a different mindset. They boot camped in a sports facility to try and really get ready for the split. They made their first roster change in over a year, and I'm actually not entirely sure all of that would have happened had they squeezed through the quarterfinals and maybe had a decent showing in the semifinals and said, oh, okay, this is the way it goes. But now it really feels like CLG is recommitted to trying to be the best in North America.
We'll see what they get for themselves. Everyone knows from solo queue, Blitzcrank is supposed to invade, but defensive setups and a couple of trinket wards keeps FlyQuest safe so far. Afro, not going to find much to hook. He's going to try for the attempt, and that's one of the cutest ways to go for it. It lets you hook without getting seen by a ward in most cases. But FlyQuest knows better than to sit in that brush. Yeah. They've learned their lessons.
Instead, he hooks the ward, and you do not get to pull those, so...
No.
FlyQuest should still know where he was invading, and now they see him once again.
Ooh, 10 gold. Huge lead for Wild Turtle in the bot lane right now. Actually won't change anything as far as bot lane dynamics are concerned. Because junglers can level up early, and I think mid laners can as well. Doesn't happen so much for bot laners, just based on the XP dynamics there. Falls pushed around, doesn't seem to really care. And as minions are about to spawn, we will see that Dardoch will start on his Raptors.
Getting a lot of harass off.
Yeah, he's giving Noe some gold on Afromoon. Red buff spawns, and it's not going to mean too much, though, because it is a Raptor start anyway if you're Moon. But it was a nice attempt that it could have been good.
Yeah, really just trying to harass. Gets us a few smacks off on a Wild Turtle, actually. If it doesn't, okay, if it didn't hard reset, it actually would have been an extended pull for Moon, but that is the way it is. Not really anything accomplished there by Afromoon. He's actually going to miss some experience in lane, so that's going to desync the level 2 of the Blitzcrank with the Zaya.
It's arguably better for them, though, because a hook is all you really need at level 1, but Stixley needs to be level 2 to get his own CC added, and if Stixley is able to level up a minion or two early, potentially there's like an all-in window where they want the level 2-1 desync. It's very tight, and it might not mean much, but it is an opportunity at the very least.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to get pushed in for that level 2 as of now.
Super Stixley, but looks like nothing happening. Darshan just trading with balls, and yeah, the early landing is certainly going well for him. We'll see if it turns around with an Elise gank later on, as now Moon is pathing to the top side, and the Satchel plant should get him the blue buff and the attempt at a gank if he wants it.
Yeah, I mean, Renekton can only win this lane once he gets the kill threat. Jace will always outpoke him in almost any range versus lane, melee matchup. That's going to be the case, and it's pretty much just the threat of killing you that lets the melee guys either win or take advantage of the lane. So Dardoch very early up there, almost expecting Moon to be there, but Moon doing a little bit longer of a build.
Yeah, it takes a little while to get level 3 in the top end anyway, especially getting pushed in like this. He'd have to push past the wave, and still there's not enough XP for him. And he's already in Q, so Darshan knows there's no chance of a dash stun because he's seen pull the meat cast. Now that's happened, and now he has to be afraid of the stun, and here comes the attempt to gank. Dardoch is here, though, right into the CC, and he read the entire play. Said, hey, back me up for the level 3 gank. It's going to happen, and he did. First blood easily goes to Darshan.
Yeah, and that's not a type of play you actually see many players make, because he had to waste a lot of time going up there. That was basically a full camp he had to give up in order to do that. He did a full clear of the red side, didn't even touch his blue. So for all he knows, technically, Moon could have been stealing his blue buff, stealing his Gromp, stealing his wolves, and setting him in a huge hole, but he guessed right, and it pays off huge.
I guess in game certainly good for Counter Logic Gaming, and that is a huge deficit to be had. Down 10 CS, the first TP back is only a clock armor versus the double longsword of Darshan. And here comes a bit more. The body slam is in. Does Afro go for the flash hook? He does! Lemon flash to the dodge for now. More plants coming up means some damage.
Huhi?
Can the mid laner show up? Yes, Huhi is here. No flash Lemon. He should not be able to dodge seismic shove. Jukes back. Doesn't even need to cast the spell. Gets the kill. Donated over thanks to the roam. And Huhi's the beneficiary of a nice play out of Dardoch ×2.
Yep, CLG first to the spot in multiple ways right there. Kai had already recalled to base. Huhi had done that earlier, actually, to get the faster double Thorns. Skipped out on his boots, whereas Hai stuck around for boots, but that gave him position for that bottom lane play. They catch Lemonation trying to get some vision control, and the rest is history.
The rest is history. This is a very great start for Counter Logic Gaming. FlyQuest, if you look at their stats as a team, it's not their laning phase that's been great. They have some good laners, to be fair. Hai's done pretty well, Turtle's done pretty well. But they've actually gotten their advantages at like the 15 to 25 minute mark and it collapses from there. They've actually had good mid-game shot calling categorically as a squad. Yep. They've got a lot of leads there, but right now CLG winning in the early game, and again, you expect based on the pedigree of these players, they'll keep that pressure, but FlyQuest has been known to turn things around in the mid-game. We'll see if it gets there with any level of close gold.
Yeah, FlyQuest always has a level of unpredictability within their play, but to combo off your earlier point, CLG's actually had some disastrous early games. It's not that they don't get leads in the early game. They actually have had some pretty big deficits in the early game and then pulled it back with even better mid and late games. High though, does hit level 6.
Shockwave going to land level 5 still on who he does have a no magic mantle for a bit of resistances, keeps him a bit healthier. One more trade comes through, but certainly advantage high. Needs his blue buff eventually. That'll spawn in maybe a minute or two. Otherwise though, health lead, but who he has mana, meaning he's actually arguably got lane control as a result as he chucks potions to heal back up. Darshan going for a fight right here. Not level 6 yet for balls, means there's no dominance, nothing to be really that scared of as he pushes them out of the turret. And the Gragas actually coming around as well. Dardoch, I don't know if the next one will hit 6 in time. He missed some from the death.
Yeah, you can see
right
half
there, a level, no chance.
This is a guess from CLG that he's not going to hit level 6. They're going for a dive.
Gonna get a lot of damage into that one. Not a lot left to do. Has the dash. Doesn't matter. The dice not there. Only sliced apart. And now pressure on the top lane outer. They might take that first turret.
I mean, this is a pretty big-time early game display by CLG with the guesswork going right on the first gank by Moon and getting the counter gank off. Darshan and Dardoch have then kind of been everywhere. Dardoch shows up in the bottom lane, swings back top. They get the majority of that turret. It's going to be a full level advantage they have over the Renekton. Wow.
Wow is correct, honestly. Incredible stuff out of Dardoch so far. 300 gold lead individually. He's gotten 3 successful ganks or kills off on different sides of the map. He's been everywhere and Moon's been nowhere. Dardoch's keeping up in golden XP and he's getting huge leads to kind of everyone on his team.
Yeah, this is the type of game you always want to have as a jungler. Unfortunately, there's junglers on both sides and it's rarely the case that you get to have
both.
It. So even scouts out Moon in the bottom side of the jungle, which is kind of allowing Aftermoon to move in for some wards. Looks like they're going to play this red buff game again.
Ooh, yeah, they know the decent timer on that one. That's a 1 first ward to help track the route in. There's the buff spawn. Of course, they get the yellow marker knowing the general time frame, and now we'll see if they can do anything special with it. Is there a way you can, like, hook it into Blast Cone and put it in the Drake Pit? Like, is that a thing?
Huh. I think you can't quite get enough range on that.
That's too bad. Maybe with, like, a Thresh. You got to, like, do something silly with a Syndra. Yeah, it's just kind of funny. But, hey, nice little temp right there. Force a flash out of high, and every single time, Dardoch shows up somewhere and something good happens for CLG.
And he's pretty healthy. It looks like Balls is trying to make a play in the mid lane, but that's going to be a bunch of ado about nothing. He's just going back to the lane on the top side. So, yeah, pressure continues for CLG. And if you're thinking about how FlyQuest can kind of get back into the game, CLG's not giving him that many avenues to, because you naturally go, oh, just get off of an Elise gank because it's a good ganking jungler. But they have tracked Moon from Wolves to Raptors to Red. So total knowledge of where he's been for the past minute and a half, which this early in the game is pretty impressive.
Yeah, really good stuff. Not even a tracker's knife out of Dardoch yet, and it's still happening here. Hook's gonna land that elimination. Here comes the root. That's not going to land, but the follow-up is still there. The damage then, thanks to Ignite, kill goes through to the Xayah.
Oh, here we go.
Now Darshan, the dominance had been popped, and he's got no way out away from Balls. Has Flash available, and clears enough distance off that wall. Now Dardoch is going to backfill the play. Body Slam's going to land for a shield. Balls still has full rage and a flash. Explosive Cast going to disengage him, keep Darshan safe. Darshan played far enough away to not be flash stunned.
Yeah, exactly. The greedy play there would have been Dardoch and Darshan kind of waiting and baiting. Do not do that with the full rage Renekton when you're that low on health, because it would have been a flash Q or a flash stun away from getting a kill or a double. CLG had to play that conservatively enough to get away, but I'd say a misplay by, well, not a misplay by Darshan. He finished the turret and then was still able to escape. So actually a good team play.
He got enough damage on it. I think he got pushed out before the turret itself died. I have to re-watch, but I think they missed the local gold as well as the first turret local gold. Again, I'm not certain, but this might have been Balls getting the very best of a pretty bad situation. He basically denied 650 gold by not giving away any local gold on that. If that's what happened.
Yeah, I believe he actually finished. I'm going back to watch it right now.
No, yeah, Darshan got it. I'm wrong.
Darshan got absolutely everything.
Okay,
so.
I'm wrong on that one. My apologies for the improper analysis. Balls at least got a flash force, but yes, first turret went through, courtesy of Darshan's laning, Dardoch's ganks. Ton of money on Darshan right now. Huge gold lead, 2,800. Looking for invade in the bottom side.
Yeah, now you're looking for where Jace can try and take over the game, because this is what you would see out of a lot of people who were picking Jace in tournaments like Worlds or MSI, but very rarely out of North American teams because they were almost never able to transition that lead against someone who could stack armor, because you need to actually win the game before people can stack armor. They're going mid lane though.
Body slam flashes there high as Flashless himself. The damage keeps coming through. The root's going to land. Stixley getting his second kill. This time roaming to the mid lane. After there, puts on the brakes, just shows up, and now it's 5 strong. Looking for mid lane outer. Shouldn't even be an issue. This is what lane priority gives you. This turret should be falling pretty quickly. That's going to be 2 outer turrets down already. And all Wild Turtle can do is push one lonely wave into the bot lane turret, which is not a big loss for CLG at all. As they continue to take away more of the jungle, looking to get rid of this. Nice hook right there. Flash available for elimination. Gets out with a String of Thorns on top of it. And buys himself a bit more time. That is still a Summoner spell down. Good play from Afro.
Yeah, it's CLG Freak is doing everything right.
Yep.
From the counter gank at the start to every roam that Afro has made to every single gank that Dardoch has gone for, he has gotten something incredibly meaningful out of. He just shows mid lane, blows High's flash, knows is down, then uses his flash at just the right time. So not only do they get the kill, they get the objective. Like, they're playing really, really well in the first 10 minutes of this game.
They are
not
playing,
emphasize that enough.
I completely agree with you. And some small portion of it is making some guesses that were correct. Guessing that Moon was going to gank top lane, Dardoch was there instead of losing his bottom jungle. That is not necessarily 50-50, but you have to make a choice, and he made the correct one. Assuming balls would not hit level 6 in the top lane tower dive, that was correct as well, and it paid off for them. Either they were amazing at tracking XP, or they just simply knew it. Regardless of CLG, good choice out of good choice after good choice so far this game. 4,000 gold leads is immense, and there's no Ocean Drake when they want it at some point. Rift Herald up as well if they want it. And we'll see what the next point of attack is, as they will continue to put their dual lane on the bot hand side of the map and keep that Jace in the top lane.
Yeah, I'm even going around the map and looking at their turrets, and they're all at 80% health or higher. Because CLG is they're first in the league in kills and third in the league in deaths, they play a often reckless style. I don't want to say like, oh man, they can totally perfect game FlyQuest right here, but this type of opening and the cleanliness in which they're playing is the type of game you actually would be able to get a perfect game off, because they have the momentum. It's just about not making mistakes and closing it out in a really good way. FlyQuest trying to stay unpredictable though.
Yeah, this could be interesting. Moon winning the brush alongside balls as well. And High, safe enough. CLG not yet going for it. The sweeper comes out and doesn't reveal much. Here comes the ghost. Here comes the play. Body slam hits up 2. Explosive cast disengages. They don't want the fight after all. The team not around for it. Even though they did have the numbers lead with Wild Turtle still in the top lane. All 5 of CLG were available. Drake is free if they want it. Not going for it yet.
But why not take him to half health with almost no risk? I mean, the powered shock blast, Dardoch knocking them away after letting the body slam. Trying to reestablish some pressure. I'm surprised COD hasn't gone for Ocean or Rift Herald as of yet, especially after poking Moon and Balls out of that fight.
You're going to go ahead and, let Afro face check the brush. Stixley cutting back a little bit to make sure he's safe from any Zyro poke. That's going to be fine. Turtle still waiting the top side over there. Over in the brush on the side of the map. Stixley going to last hit some of these minions, and they will now lane on this side of the map.
Yeah, and this is a cheeky play because you expect Wild Turtle to be out of there so they can go on Afro.
A lot of CC Ignite is on as well. The shield's going to get popped, and Afro going to flash away. Ignite's still on, and he's going to survive with a root onto Wild Turtle. Can't quite get the last few attacks off. Afro stays alive, keeps the perfect game alive as well. A nice attempt by FlyQuest. That was so nearly what they wanted.
Yeah, credit to Wild Turtle. You do not expect someone to stick around in that brush for that long. And so much of League is working with imperfect information. So CLG kind of was expecting something maybe there. That's why Afro was sneaking in the brush, but very nearly converted by FlyQuest.
Very nearly indeed. And now we're going to see the bot lane under pressure. Dardoch back killing the lane, hoping to see if Moon will show up for another counter gank that Dardoch can turn a kill into. He's just letting Darshan get hits in this turret. And when Ball starts to look aggressive, that's when they know maybe he's here. But it's just slice and dice with a wave clear. Nothing else to do. Back to go.
Yeah, well played by Balls there. Slicing forward, dicing backwards enough to stop the recall from Dardoch. And he's been sitting on that ward for 20 or 30 seconds now. If he sticks around for another 4, he's going to become really sad, because that's when he'll see the ward debris right under his feet.
Yep, and he's not even gonna know that he was spotted the whole time. Silly Dardoch didn't know, but it doesn't matter because the rest of CLG were in the bot lane. They're pushing the Ocean Drake down, and that bottom outer turret is down to about 1,000 health as well. So certainly CLG, even if you are standing on a ward and losing a lot of time, he didn't lose any of his jungle. They got a Drake out of it. Bottom turret's almost dead, and Counter Logic Gaming, even when they make a minor mistake, almost can do no wrong, as mid lane's pushed in and Balls can just sit by and nearly rubble in this bot lane.
Yeah, and then Dardoch still gets good timing on his base. He had hit level 9, so he immediately updates his trinket to the upgraded sweeper. It's exactly what you want to do on a level 9 jungler. That upgraded sweeper is so much better than rank 1, or oftentimes even a warding totem is if you want to get about 2 sweepers on the team, which is about the sweet spot for being able to control vision.
Yeah. That's where we're going to sit right now. 5,000 remains the gold lead right now, as they've matched lanes pretty well on CLG Gaming side. Darshan once again shoves in the top. And Rifttrail will despawn in 4 minutes. We'll see if they grab that. My expectation is they would and or should, based on the lead they have. Makes it easy to push a tier 2 turret down. FlyQuest's wave clear actually pretty solid, so they might need the extra tools. See as it goes. Dardoch going to grab a Rift Scuttle with no major issues. And this is the point in time where FlyQuest seems to pull a miracle. More often than not, something happens. They get 3 kills. We'll see if CLG can prevent that, but this is the kind of play they've been able to do so far. Here comes the Rift Herald attempt. We've got to almost assume. Just kidding. He's going to go top lane.
Well, they have no deep vision, and thinking about it from COD's perspective, there's been about 4 missing for about 20 seconds.
Yeah.
So it is a little bit of hesitancy they have to play with. FlyQuest really sitting back, which isn't what you expect when you play against Ty. I mean, even listening to what Stixay said right before the game, he said they make a lot of really aggressive and he thinks objectively bad plays, which I tend to agree with, but it works more often than not because they've been so unpredictable. If you make an unpredictable play that would be a bad play had they predicted it, but they can't predict it, it still makes it a good play in like a circular logic type of way. But FlyQuest isn't doing any of that right now. They're actually just playing super far back in the server. They're not going for any of those risky plays, maybe because they think CLG will expect it, or because they're second-guessing
the unpredictable
stuff.
play, chat! You do nothing crazy!
They did all that stuff, and then they started losing with it, so now they're just playing this conservative, standard Ori Renekton stuff and not making any plays.
No, they're not really. There was the attempt in the top lane, a couple of almost all-ins and a half move, but none of it turned into kills just yet. There remains 5,000. Rift Herald has gone on to the jungler. That is most common that it goes on to Dardoch here. And we'll see which turret they want to kill with that right now. Looking for the hook, maybe. High gets a shockwave out of 2. Root's going to land. They might pick him off. There's the burst damage. The kill comes through, but it's a trade back as High goes down. Rift Herald comes in the mid lane, and CLG say, we're going to attack that one in the face of an Orianna. But of course, there is no minion wave for them. It's just going to be the Rift Herald tanking. He will turn off. She will turn off the backdoor bonus. They zone out 1. Now Turtle does have flash, but is otherwise cordoned off. More damage to the turret. Explosive cast only puts him into the wall, though. Does not really deliver him to the team. And Rift Herald will only get 3/4 of that turret. They flash play for Styx. They can't put the daggers back in time. More engaged. There's the shock blast.
Boy.
They pick up 2. Now Turtle's going to be dove on. That's going to be 3. The shell not going to save him on this one. And suddenly Darshan must choose if he wants to flash at the base or not, or just wait for the minion wave. And out he goes after clearing it out. Mid lane tier 2 has fallen. CLG win that fight 3, actually 4-2. All said and done, a 6 rated his life. Or leads.
Have to see how Stixay falls on the backside of this one, but it does not open well. Great shockwave by High. Perfect game. No longer possible, but a lot of ultimates burned on the very front of this play, and COD still has a massive lead in a Rift Herald, so they're not willing to call this play off. Fuji's around the left side. They have their Gragas around the bottom. They just continue to poke at this turret. They really want to make a play and just track the long tail on this play. Watch the Jace from the bottom of the minimap run all the way up as the next minion wave arrives. Balls Renekton's still down there, so that means Dardoch can go lock 2 people down. Darshan can run through his acceleration gate and close in that last kill.
Nice by High, actually. Had the foresight to see. I can't hit Dardoch, it won't matter. But he saw the line of the 6 who came back in and deal some damage, managed to trade 1 kill. So good sight by High to see that one happen. Either way, though, it was still, of course, CLG Gaming getting the better of it by far. 7,000, nearly their lead here in this one is we can get his own red buff, and it's one of the very few things that FlyQuest can get this game.
Yeah. Blade of the Ruin King and Black Cleaver completed by Darshan, which gives him a full Blade of the Ruin King up on his lane opponent. That is a 3,000 gold lead at 19 minutes in the top lane alone.
Well, when you've got 50 more minions, when you've got a couple of turrets, when you've got 4 kills, yeah.
Yep.
Winning by actually 3,000 gold individually and change. Difficult game for FlyQuest here. CLG Gaming, for a team that had had some misgivings early game. The mantra at the end of the first day, of the first week, was Dardoch's beating, but we're still winning. Good for them. Well, now Dardoch is 0-0-7. He can kind of do no wrong. Most of FlyQuest can only live twice here in this game, and he's going to keep moving forward, looking for a bit more. Hook not going to land. Sorry, buddy.
Still making the move for the blue buff. They had the right idea on that play. Darshan just continuing this split push. Why not? He had the one Fiora game where he actually got almost this far ahead, but the rest of his team was behind, which made it a little bit dicey. He kept trying to team fight with him.
Wow, down he goes. And Dardoch had some gold in eye, but instead the rest of the team was right in front of him. They beat the living daylights out of him. Down goes the jungler for CLG, but the split push continues. CLG Gaming always staying active on the map, trading bot lane tier 2 for a kill, not too bad.
Yeah, quality caster curse onto Dardoch right there. As he moves too far ahead. Still a lot of engage potential from the Zyra, Varus, Orianna, Elise. I mean, one person steps out of line, and that's about 7 seconds of CC that can get fully shamed on you.
Every single person on that team has some kind of hard CC. Some have 2. It is definitely something to watch for. The picks might come through for FlyQuest, but they've got to work through a significant deficit here. They had the little reprieve with Dardoch being dead, but the problem is that Rift Scuttle can see them. They can play for some of the wards here, and okay, now the vision's gone, but there's certainly no chance at a Baron sneak. Just still acquiring farm as best they can, and Ocean number 2 goes to CLG.
Yeah, CLG loses their control wards in the Baron area in order to get that Ocean Drake, but the Ocean Drake will kind of embolden their pushes. I've seen CLG really get 1 or 2 Ocean Drakes and then just do a never-ending push into someone's base as long as no one dies. Just takes 1 Blitzcrank hook and then the push would begin, but Aftermove just tried a flash hook and missed in the top lane.
Didn't force any summons with that play, so it was just simply a good sidestep by the receiving members of FlyQuest. Ball's hoping Darshan's face checks. He won't do it. Darshan, yeah. Ninja Tabby, I think, pretty smart to make sure he can survive some of the Renekton all-in. Certainly has some extra health because of the lifesteal and the 400 from Cleaver, so adds some armor to round that out. Darshan, like the rest of CLG, hoping to hatch that ward.
Yeah.
Also some good trinket usage, to be fair.
Yeah, there's been a fair bit of this in this bottom lane, so that'll be something that CLG could potentially review after this one. Still, though, a 3,700 gold lead by Darshan over Balls. It's actually wondrous that he hasn't just trying to all in him, but that's because they don't have enough vision on everyone else. This is smart by High, actually, trying to get
He's supported. He's supported. Darshan has to run away, and there we go. Gets the gate up, knocks him back, and there he goes. Yeah, the fact that minion aggro to him means I'm sitting on a ward. Immediately has to run away from that one. And thankfully for Darshan, didn't get picked off, but sadly no stun to be had for Balls right there.
Yeah, there's another trick as well if you're wondering how to check if a brush is warded without being able to sweep it. If you're just right-clicking and you have the setting on that will auto-attack something as soon as you stop walking, if they have vision of you in the brush, you will then attack a minion. If they do not, you will not attack the minion.
Yeah.
So something that can often happen to pro players if they don't have that setting as well.
Specifically, don't hit S, because that will turn off your auto-acquiring as well. So, yeah, if you just sit as Zyra in a brush, it's like really easy to know if bot lane's warded, for example. And, of course, Jace kind of the same. Anything range, pretty easy to do. 8,000 gold, CLG Gaming looking to keep pushing this one forward. They've taken the Ocean Drake control. They're going to get 3. It's going to be great. They'll have all kinds of regeneration if they can start sieging, as you were mentioning earlier, Jat, that they are so good at sieging with a small lead and just closing the game out from there. We'll see if they go for the sub 30-minute win. They've certainly slowed down a bit in turret kills, but they have been continually making progress. Rift Herald got mid tier 2. Darshan got bottom tier 2. Top lane still alive for now. Baron is on the map. And Darshan is splitting in the bot lane right now.
Yeah, and I also think that CLG want to close this out in the right way, because technically if this game was a lot closer, they would still be trying to say, okay, Darshan has a lead. He needs to be able to pull someone down, and then the rest of the squad needs to be able to make a play as 4. They have a big enough lead that they could actually just mob up and run down a turret, but you can't reliably get those types of leads. So I feel like they're actually really just trying to execute their 4-1 game plan, which is taking a little bit of time, as it should if the game is close.
This is a slightly risky play out of Darshan. And he's got a couple of wards, it's not too bad, but didn't have complete vision over the jungle. Nicely done. Grabs the red away from Balls. He tried to fight for it. There's the Ruin King slow. Red to follow up, and Slice and Dice is down for a few more seconds. The chase continues down to 500 HP left on Balls. 2 more shots will do it. Gets a shield briefly and walks away, gets a quick shield, but that is the pressure that you were talking about, Chat. Pull the team down to that side of the map, and there's no one here to steal away the Baron. CLG grabs that cleanly. Darshan, can he get away? Looking with the satchel. Yep, out he goes. Nothing to be done at all by FlyQuest. 3 of them there, and Darshan ends healthier than he started.
Yeah, beautiful play right there by Darshan. Gets the red, blows everything from the Renekton, Flash is gone, and then the rest of the team can get Baron. So that just extends the lead even further for CLG. Clean recall, set up the same play once again. Keep Darshan down in that bottom lane. Now he can full buy a QSS and a Last Whisper. plus a couple control wards. So this next push may be the final one if CLG does this right.
Don't love the Last Whisper. There is exactly a Ninja Tabby against him. That is the only armor in the entire game that FlyQuest has, so questionable when you've got a Black Cleaver already. But regardless, he's still going to do well for himself, and at this point, it's almost like buying mid-Jais. It's style points at this one, or something. I don't know. Whatever. It's not going to mean much in this game with the 9,000 gold and a Baron buff on. Darshan probably going to stay in the bot side. Still has his TP, is down Flash. He's a bit more gankable as a result.
Yeah. He's reducing about 11 armor from Balsas Renekton.
Yeah.
If you consider the Ninja Tabby.
And even then, though, if you Black Cleaver the armor off, he's just at base armor again, and you reduce 0. Right? Like, once you stack Black Cleaver, actually, you've turned off your own Last Whisper. So, whatever. We're going to get off the topic because there's a siege afoot right now, and there's 2 minutes left on the Baron buff. And CLG playing it very cautiously. They are waiting to see people on the map. Stixxay refuses to auto-attack a turret because of this sort of situation. He lets the wave clear come through. They're certainly playing this a bit more slowly. Make sure who he can pressure in the mid lane, get that into the inhibitor turret. New wave coming in right now, and top lane 2-2 will fall. Patience being rewarded so far. Logic Gaming, I guess, hoping that they can close this out with only 3 deaths in total. KDA players through and through, quite obviously. Aframu with his 1 assist, significantly the player of the game. Kappa, and here comes Paul spitting for a little bit of poke. More turret shots in from Darshan. Comes the wall.
What? And that could just... Oh, but they don't have minions.
Yeah, that didn't do a whole lot.
Wait.
It cut off elimination, but he's ranged anyway. Oh, okay, that's some damage. Ball's lots of armor and no magic resist, and he does 1 million damage.
And then they'll be able to just go back on the next wave and get this maybe done with, but they have to respect the Orianna. You mentioned about how COD is kind of playing this passive, and it really feels like they are, but it's 26 minutes into the game.
It is real early.
So, don't quite want to do crazy turret dives as of yet.
Yeah, you can never hate on a sub 30-minute win and be like,
yeah,
this is slow. It's like, this is significantly faster than average. You can't say that about me right now. And CLG looking to wheel this one in, 3 minutes to go until that mark comes through. Baron buff lasts only 1 minute more. They've only gotten a single turret with the Baron buff, though. It hasn't been the fastest of progress. Darshan taking a trade up against Ball, still going to do all right for himself. And once again, back onto the turret. Puts on the hypercharge. 2 more autos will kill it. The minion's going to make the rest of the work happen. Darshan getting a bit of gold. Ruin King for the slow. Shockwave's still going to land. His flash was down. QSS turns out to be nothing. I think he might have got rid of a Renekton stun, but now mid under fire. They might have to back off because of the threat of FlyQuest re-engaging. Darshan gets jumped on with his flash being down. Good ghost by High to make it come through. And CLG going to have to backpedal now.
Yeah, exactly. So what happened there is CLG was trying to make the play of just threatening all the turrets at once with Baron-empowered minions, and FlyQuest then needs to find the window where a turret isn't being immediately pressured, and then they can go for a kill on any side. And they actually do that quite well. I think it's because they have so much wave clear from the Orianna and the Varus. They could bide the time with the minion waves. That allowed them to run down, and they pick up the 1 kill to kind of stop the push. They lose 1 turret and 3/4 of another one, which can regen over time.
It can, but you wonder how much it'll get back before that does come through. Gold difference, 9,500 CLG Triple Ocean, now Mountain. It's all the non-combat Drakes. CLG not getting exactly the snowballiest of options here, though it likely won't matter much here. But hey, if the Miracle Comeback comes in, maybe you can blame the lack of Infernal Drakes.
Yeah, and this is what CLG tried to do while they saw the collapse going down on the bottom side. FlyQuest knows that CLG is going to try and make a play as soon as they shift their numbers over to the other side of the base. And they dodge out of Aframu's hook.
2 flashes for 1, though. Certainly that's a positive trade for the CLG side. And maybe we'll see something else come through with it a little bit later on. High still getting his farm up. Level 16 is matching with his lane opponent. 3 items into the Orianna. No death cap yet, but still decent damage out of Banshee, which has AP on it now, the Morello and the Void. CLG clearing through the jungle. They know the red buff is respawning soon. It looks like it's time for a concerted effort into the bottom lane. It's late enough now that this bottom inhibitor will stay dead by the time Baron respawns, so bottom inhib almost always the best to grab when you're looking with Baron in your eyes. They're still taking plenty of time, though. Darshan's going to have flash up in a couple of seconds. His TP is still up, so he's going to split. He typically has joined the team pretty quickly in these sieges, as they keep playing through the jungle. Haven't cleared all the wards, but they have got that red buff. Mid gets shoved, waiting for bot lane again. CLG's siege will continue soon.
Yeah, you can see them potentially even waiting for the next Baron if they couldn't get much done with the first one in. As clean as this early game was and as great as CLG looked to be playing, this is actually the point in the game where you start to get a little bit nervous as CLG because you've had such a huge lead, and Blitzcrank and Jace and Talia aren't amazing late game team fighters. They're okay,
Right.
but when you compare that to maybe a late game Zyra or Orianna Varus, it would eventually favor FlyQuest. We're not near that yet, but if a few more plays go wrong, that's what CLG would be up against.
Right, and it's not even that severe, like, but I agree. It's certainly a long way coming if that does eventually happen, but you're right. Maybe infinite items 20 hours into the game, FlyQuest is a bit of a scaling advantage. Either way, though, the Siege has continued pretty well. They didn't wait for the Baron. They just simply put the resources as a 2-0-3 split. Top inhibitor is dead. Botlane maybe follow shotgun. Only gets the tank. That is not the best target. Here comes the burst damage. Can't quite kill off high, but meanwhile, the knockup is there and the kill off on an Afro move. Flashback from stick side fight continues as Dardoch goes down. The hard engage is there. Knockback not going to kill off the tank, and with the rest of CLG separated, FlyQuest go hard. They get 2 kills for it.
Yeah, and just the one inhibitor down for CLG. The other inhibitor is defended. The mid turret is still alive, and it's another one of those situations where FlyQuest gets the numbers oriented in their base faster than CLG does.
Yeah.
So the tables obviously haven't turned yet,
No.
but the fear is there.
Yeah, there's no power into the, I screwed it up. We're gonna move on. 10,000 gold still, CLG the lead, and they've got a top inhibitor death to work with. Baron's up in 15 seconds. We can watch this fight again.
Yeah, and a little bit of a miscommunication in fight here. Dardoch ults as the hook would come through. I think the hook would have grabbed high and pulled him in there, but even if that happens, it's 5v3. They're initiating as 3 into 5. So probably not even going to kill high that way. Maybe Stixxay could have comboed his damage, but not the smartest of initiations there by CLG.
I definitely agree. Silly on Dardoch, or whoever called for Dardoch to go for it. Play certainly did backfire, but and again, it didn't lose them too much. They went down 2 kills, as you mentioned before. They got the top inhibitor, and they're going to play for this one more time. Baron is alive. We'll see if CLG can make the play. FlyQuest, though, already prepped. They're hoping they can stay one step ahead. Someone's got to clear top lane, right? Someone's going to ride in that wave. Maybe someone. Looks like not right now. It's going to be a recall out of Wild Turtle instead. It's going to be CLG rushing down the Baron so far. Moon right behind it, though. The chance to steal, and he does not get seen, I believe, at all. They have no way of knowing that Moon is here. They know there's a control where they don't know that Moon is here. Can he get the steal? Jumps to the wall, not going to get it in time, and just repels back down to the blast cone. A little bit late on the play. Either way, nice attempt, and CLG get a pretty much uncontested Baron.
Yeah, but also because of CLG's control when inside the pit, Moon had to guess when to put his ward down to get that glimpse of vision before then repelling in. So a bunch of guesswork. Could have been a massive outplay highlight clip. Ends up being
nothing.
Yep.
Ends up being nothing. It looked cool for a little attempt, but it's okay. It's just CLG returning to the Siege game. Mountain Drake not going to be up for another minute 15. Likely to try to take down 3 inhibitors before then. Maybe even close the game out. 33 minutes. We crest into this one. CLG have been in control ever since minute 3. It's been half an hour straight of gold leads. And Chronologic Gaming have, to their credit, continued to stretch that number higher. Even when they have bled away a couple of kills, they've managed to get more of the farm, more of the jungle, and more of the structures. 8-0 in turrets. All FlyQuest have gotten have been kills that CLG have allowed them to get by playing maybe occasionally too aggressive.
Yeah, a lot of things started by Afromu going in for a Blitzcrank hook. The pick is most likely going to get the victory here, but didn't have too much to do with the outcome of the game. A lot of it's just been about this Gragas-Jace synergy, giving them the map pressure to make these plays.
We're going to see as they push in for the open bot lane inhibitor down to 1/3 HP. And look for the poke, a bit more damage than a balls. 1,000 HP on Renekton is easy to get rid of, so he's got to kite back, and that's enough to let CLG go in for the auto attacks. That one goes down. Mid lane, the only one left alive. And we likely see them take that before they go for the Mountain Drake. Top lane is pushing in right now. Here comes the cutoff wall, and who are you going to say, you can all get out of your own base because this one is ours. The northeast side all belongs to Counter Logic Gaming. It's their turf, it's their territory. They're looking to take down the Nexus as well, as the minions are now flooding in through all 3 lanes.
Finally did it. Triple inhibitors with Baron buff up. They're going to need to get those minions finally in because FlyQuest can go back and recall and get their health up pretty quickly. So you need that total onslaught of Baron empowered minions from all 3 waves. But they should get that pretty soon, and then it's going to be a desperation fight for FlyQuest.
It is. Here comes wave number 1 from the top lane. Baron buffed up, and High just trying to wave clear it. CLG waiting around. Bot lane going to get cleaned out nicely, and now mid lane comes in. Not supers yet for this one, but here comes the double wave, looking for a bit of damage. And again, safety and concern that get away from the shockwave by the most part. Shield comes in. Here comes the attempt. They're going to land the root, the stun, and Darshan. He stays alive, though, and falls. First, get right back out. Shockwave's going to land for a lot of damage. Oh. There's the roots coming across. That Feather Storm nearly takes them all out. A knockup from Zyra doesn't mean too much. Shock Blast didn't quite get any kills either. CLG crest 66,000 gold, and now the TP back in for Darshan to make sure he's full health. ready to close this one out. They're not getting any damage on the turrets, and of course, FlyQuest have access to their own base, but here come the gigantic waves. The hook and the high. There's the first kill through the stun, not going to matter from balls. Renekton, second kill comes in, and now the minions are too much. There's not enough players alive anymore. Stun for Dardoch. The chase for Turtle gets himself the kill, true to his name, wanting to dive to flash forward to get at least something out of the scoreboard. 3 kills for him, but it is simply not enough. Counter Logic Gaming stayed in control the entire game and are going to close out game 1 here.
Yeah, and if you look at the scoreboard after not watching this game and you see a 12 kill to 7 35-minute game, you might think, all right, it was back and forth, and then CLG probably found some picks with Blitzcrank and then won the game. But that's totally not what happened. This game was actually just an early game display by CLG, followed by not a great closeout for a split push comp with a Jace that's super fed, because at the end of the day, I don't actually feel like they ever really got the Jace turret siege thing going the way they should have, and they ended up just using their gold lead to shove in FlyQuest and get the win. So I think if you're CLG, they should be happy with that win because they crushed FlyQuest in the early game, but honestly, I feel like they could have done that a lot better as far as where they want to go as a team.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I did like how Dardoch played the game, though, as far as him coming into form. I mean, I think he completely read Moon. I think he had so many good plays. The counter gank top lane, I think, is just a really important one. Sure, if you're a really good player, you know, hey, you know what this matchup looks like with Jason Renekton? Level 3 ganks top lane. Hey, we see that the Elite started Raptors. I wonder if she's going to go Raptors red to blue buff. Oh, wow, shockingly, she did. What a surprise. But to still be there, to get the counter gank off, to be in that brush in time, that is still good play, to execute on that and be there for the gank. There is still guesswork. You have to make the assumption, and he assumed correctly, and that started the snowball. The repeat gank when he was still level 5, it was just all beautiful.
Yeah, and we're catching this clip to see the payoff, but Dardoch cleared Raptors red Krugs to make it to that spot. Then they were level 6 on Jace before Renekton would be level 6. That's basically your last chance to gank him and do that type of turret dive without it falling apart, and they make that. So for pretty much the entire first 12 minutes of the game, it was Dardoch being there exactly when he needed to be in all 3 lanes. That Gragas flex pick that they used, it was their first pick on the red side of the draft, just paid off beautifully.
It really did. And Darshan did, of course, really well. He benefited so nicely off of all this, did the most damage in the game, 17.3 thousand. The 2-0 start to the lane became 4-0, became 5-1 and 2 by the end of it. Certainly did benefit well. And we talk about how we don't see a lot of good Jaces in NA or a lot of necessarily good Kennons in NA, but he was able to play that style of stuff really good, right? And you can see his stats so far. And this is not just in this game. This is actually him overall. You talk about players doing better this year. Darshan is one of them.
Yeah, I see we conveniently leave the CS out of that one. He had good CS in this game, but he's had a few games where he's in the reverse of these matchups, where he's up against someone like a Fiora or Jason. He's on the Gragas that has to play conservatively, and he's doing that well too, which I actually have to commend him for, because this guy was not looking like a good player in the spring split. He was bottom tier North American top laners, but he is absolutely right up there in discussion with the top tier top laners so far this split.
Right.
And he's made a huge improvement over the break.
He's on a first place team and his stats are first place for players. Like he is certainly part of what's working for them. We have one more really to show you, which is the Counter Logic Gaming mid lane siege around 17 minutes. This one starts off with a nice shockwave damage and good damage, but look at that hook.
Yeah, and this one shows a lot of persistence by CLG because they clearly had a plan in mind. They'd want to get the pick to pull off the Rift Herald, but they say, you know what? We can get it anyway. It's still an Elise dead for a Blitzcrank. Talia Wall comes through, but they actually don't have the ability to one-shot Wild Turtle, not to mention he has Flash if he really needs it. Waits for the wall to go down, good patience, but this is where it turns a little bit bad because Jace is able to make the roam. Dardoch then flashes in, takes turret aggro. Actually, Hui had the turret aggro in there, and we've mentioned High's nice snipe onto Stixxay at the back end of that fight, but overall still about a 2,000 gold swing in that clip alone for CLG.
Yeah, really big stuff. And you can see, again, the graph looks like, oh, CLG's winning, and then they're winning, and they're winning, and they're winning. It just did feel slow to us because that lead at 20 minutes is astronomical. That's probably like 6-7K right there. It's like, wow, you are smashing this game. And the fact that it did take 37 or 35 minutes feels a little long, as we were kind of mentioning during the game. A little too convenient, or sorry, a little too slow from CLG, but at the end of the day, I mean, they didn't really give that many openings.
Yeah, listen, they didn't give a single turret over, a single Drake, a Singer, Baron, any of those
epic
things.
monsters,
and the worst that ever happened is 1 or 2 people get picked off and the game will delay a little bit. So CLG, very dominant game 1 victory.
Definitely dominant. We'll see if FlyQuest can turn things around or if CLG is going to make it a clean 2-0 sweep when we come back. Don't touch that browser.
How come they never toss us the Poros?
I don't know. That's a good question. Hey! Yo,
Hey,
he's
give
really
us a
on.
Poro!
Here comes the initial gank. Dardoch is here though, right into the CC, and he read the entire play.
They're going mid lane though.
Body slam flashes there, high is flashless himself. The damage keeps coming through. The root's gonna land Stixley getting his second kill.
No.
These two.
No flash, no flash.
Go. I kill.
Get it,
You got it.
Nice.
Here comes the first damage, can't quite kill off high, but meanwhile the knockup is there and the kill off an Afro. Flash away from Stixley, fight continues as Dardoch goes down, the hard engage is there. The chase for Turtle gets himself the kill, true to his name, wanting to dive to flash forward to get at least something onto the scoreboard. 3 kills for him, but it is simply not enough. Counter Logic Gaming stayed in control the entire game and are gonna close out game 1 here.